One small coin, one massive mystery. 5 Washington quarters that turned pocket change into pure treasure uncover the forgotten stories, the minting mistakes, the hidden symbols, and the secret values behind the top 5 rarest Washington quarters in American history. This is not just coin collecting, this is a journey through time, value, and American legacy that will leave you stunned. 1973 quarter might be worth far more than 25 cents, and why its journey through American pockets is a reflection of a nation's past. The Washington quarter has stood as a symbol of American coinage since its introduction in 1932, and the 1973 Washington quarter holds a unique place in this lineage, representing a chapter in the long story of American numismatics that ties together the legacy of George Washington, the father of our nation, the mint's evolving production techniques, and the economic realities of the time. The design of the Washington quarter originated to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, when the United States Commission of Fine Arts conducted a competition to select a new design artist. John Flanagan's depiction of Washington's profile was ultimately chosen, and it has endured through decades with only slight modifications. And the year 1973 arrived during a period when the United States Mint continued to produce, circulating coinage primarily from the Philadelphia and Denver mints, while proof coins came from the San Francisco Mint. The story behind the 1973 quarter begins with the historical backdrop of the early 1970s, when the American economy faced challenges such as inflation, an energy crisis, and a changing landscape of commerce. During this period, the demand for coins remained steady, driven by the expanding population and the need for coins for everyday transactions. The Mint produced millions of Washington quarters in 1973, with the Philadelphia Mint striking over 374 million pieces, and the Denver Mint contributing another 232 million coins. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins struck with specially polished dies to meet the needs of collectors. These proof coins were not meant for circulation, and they remain a sought-after variety among numismatists. Today, examining the physical characteristics of the 1973 Washington quarter, one finds the enduring design featuring Washington's left-facing bust with the word Liberty inscribed above, and the national motto, "In God We Trust," to the left, with the date 1973 positioned at the base. On the reverse, the heraldic eagle with outstretched wings clutches a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, symbolizing America's commitment to both strength and peace. The word United States of America arches above, with E pluribus unum just below, and quarter dollar at the bottom. The coins from this year were struck on clad planchets composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. This clad composition replaced the 90% silver content that quarters contained. Until 1964, a decision driven by rising silver prices and the need to prevent coin hoarding. The absence of silver content in the 1973 quarter makes its intrinsic metal value relatively low. Yet certain mint errors and well-preserved examples can hold significant value in the collector's market. To understand the historical significance of this coin, we must look at the broader numismatic context of the era. The early 1970s were a time when the hobby of coin collecting was flourishing, buoyed by a growing interest among the American public and an increased awareness of the value that rare and well-struck coins could command. Coin shows, publications, and local clubs expanded, bringing together enthusiasts eager to trade and discuss their finds for collectors. Today, the 1973 Washington quarter represents both a common date for circulated examples and a potentially valuable piece when it comes in exceptional condition with a high grade assigned by professional grading services. Coins that display full details, particularly the elusive full drum lines or strong strikes, can command a premium on the market. Further enhancing their desirability are varieties and errors which serve as highlights for collectors hunting for that one coin that stands out from millions among the known varieties some collectors seek. Double die, obverses, or reverses where design elements appear. doubled due to slight misalignments during the striking process, while not every error commands a high price. Some dramatic examples have fetched impressive sums at auction. One must also consider the role of the San Francisco proof coins, which were issued as part of annual proof sets intended for collectors. These proof coins exhibit a mirror-like finish and sharp details, making them appealing for display or investment. The mintage of proof coins in 1973 was nearly 3 million, a relatively modest number, when compared to the hundreds of millions of circulation strikes, while most of these proof coins remain with their original sets. Over time, some have been separated and graded individually, commanding prices based on their condition and certification. Numismatists study the die varieties, planchet issues, and strike qualities of the 1973 quarters to determine which examples stand out. These subtle distinctions can transform an ordinary quarter into a prized possession. Among the stories that enrich the history of the Washington quarter are those of the everyday people who come across these coins in pocket change, unaware that a tiny difference or minting flaw could hold remarkable value. Stories of lucky finds persist within the hobby, such as someone spotting an uncirculated quarter in a roll or receiving a proof coin in circulation by mistake. The allure of the Washington quarter lies in its accessibility and the possibility that even the most common-looking coin can carry secrets for a keen-eyed collector. One must appreciate how the Washington quarter also mirrors the changing technologies at the United States Mint, as advancements in minting machinery, quality control, and die production continued to evolve in the 1970s. The Mint balanced high-volume output with the desire to maintain design integrity and detail the planchets used for clad coinage were precision manufactured. Yet variations inevitably occurred, leading to off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other mint errors that collectors eagerly seek in their searches beyond the physical coin. The historical context of 1973 adds layers to its story. That year witnessed political upheavals, economic shifts, and cultural moments that resonate with those who lived through it. President Richard Nixon's administration faced mounting challenges, including the Watergate scandal, which would eventually reshape American politics. The economy contended with the ripple effects of the oil embargo and the early signs of stagflation, all while the everyday citizen continued to rely on coins like the Washington quarter for daily transactions. Vending machines, payphones, parking meters, and countless purchases depended on this small piece of metal. Each coin silently passed through countless hands, bearing witness to the fabric of American life, from the pockets of factory workers to the cash registers of small-town diners. The journey of the 1973 quarter is a reminder that coins are more than metal. They are artifacts of our shared history. The collector who holds a well-preserved 1973 quarter in their hand holds more than just a monetary unit. They hold a piece of the American narrative, a reflection of an era marked by transition, challenge, and the enduring symbols that bind generations. The legacy of George Washington himself looms large over this series, as the face on the quarter embodies ideals of leadership, integrity, and the foundational story of the nation. The decision to place Washington's likeness on the quarter was intended not just as an artistic choice, but as a statement of values that the United States would commemorate and preserve through its everyday currency today. The hobby of coin collecting continues to grow, with enthusiasts studying population reports, auction results, and grading trends for the Washington quarter. The community of collectors exchanges knowledge through forums, online groups, and coin shows where coins like the 1973 Washington quarter are examined under magnification, discussed in detail, and appreciated for their place in the vast timeline of American numismatics, whether tucked away in a coin folder, displayed in a slabbed holder, or simply carried in a pocket for good luck. The 1973 quarter remains a bridge between the past and the present, encouraging new generations to discover the stories hidden in the change that jingles in our pockets as we draw this journey through the history of the Washington quarter, 1973, to a close. One thing becomes clear: this coin is not just a denomination, It is a testament to America's enduring spirit, its evolving economy, and the timeless fascination we hold for the small treasures that link us to our collective past. And so next time you find a Washington quarter from 1973, take a closer look and remember the hands it passed through, the pockets it filled, and the stories it could still tell to those willing to listen. Think again, because this one might surprise you. The year was 1991, and the United States Mint continued its long-running production of the iconic Washington quarter, a coin that had become a mainstay in the pockets of millions across the nation. The Washington quarter, first introduced in 1932 as a one-year commemorative issue to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, had proven so popular that it became a permanent fixture in American coinage. The 1991 edition sits at an interesting crossroads in the series, history bridging the classic pre-state quarter era, and the modern age of coin collecting enthusiasts often overlook this year considering it common. But those who know the intricate details understand its subtle nuances and what makes it worth a deeper look. To understand the 1991 Washington quarter, we must first revisit the origins of the design sculptor John Flanagan. Won the original competition in 1931, his design featuring a left-facing portrait of George Washington was chosen over other submissions because it balanced a stately look with a practical, striking surface. The obverse showed the bust with the word Liberty above the date below and the national motto, "In God We Trust," to the left of Washington's neck. The reverse design depicted an American bald eagle perched with outspread wings clutching a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, symbolizing the nation's readiness to defend peace. For decades, this design remained virtually unchanged, a testament to the enduring respect for Washington's legacy. But the passage of time brought subtle shifts in minting techniques and die wear. By the 1990s, the mint was producing millions of quarters each year, with varying levels of strike quality and planche consistency. The Philadelphia Mint struck the majority of 1991 quarters, but the Denver Mint also produced its fair share. Each mint mark tells a story of its own, and for collectors, identifying these small letters can mean the difference between a circulated common piece and a rare variety worth many times face value. The 1991 P quarter minted in Philadelphia lacks a mint mark, as was standard practice until 1980 when the Philadelphia Mint began using the P mark for other denominations, but continued to strike quarters without it for years thereafter. Meanwhile, the 1991 D quarter carries the Denver Mint mark located on the obverse to the right of Washington's ponytail. These subtle letters hold immense significance to numismatists, who track mint output, strike variations, and even errors that slip through quality control. Minting errors on 1991 quarters add an extra layer of intrigue. Some quarters display off-center strikes resulting from misaligned dies that cause part of the design to appear shifted or partially missing. Other examples include doubled dies, where the design elements appear duplicated due to misregistration during the hubbing process. These errors are rare, but when discovered, they generate excitement among collectors who know that such anomalies often fetch high premiums at auction. One notable example is the double die obverse, where elements like Liberty or the date may show clear doubling under magnification. Such coins are highly sought after by specialists. Beyond errors, there is also the phenomenon of die varieties over the course of the year. Dies wear down and are often replaced at varying intervals. This creates slight differences in the reliefs or placement of design elements. Collectors hunt for these varieties, cataloging each subtle deviation and comparing them against standard reference guides. The difference might be as minor as a stronger strike in the hair details or a sharper feather pattern on the eagle. But to a trained eye, these traits can separate a common pocket find from a collector-grade treasure, while many 1991 quarters remain in circulation in worn condition. Finding one in pristine, uncirculated state is becoming increasingly difficult. Coins graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC Command much higher prices than their circulated counterparts. Coin roll hunters still dream of stumbling across a gem buried among everyday change, but the odds grow slimmer. With each passing year, the rise of the internet and online marketplaces has fueled greater awareness of these values, leading more people to check their change and submit coins for grading. An interesting aspect of the 1991 quarter story is its place within the broader context of the Washington Quarter series by 1991. The design had already surpassed its original commemorative intent by nearly 6 decades. Its longevity reflected not only the reverence for George Washington, but also the inertia of tradition within the U.S. Mint. Yet change was on the horizon. The State Quarters program would debut in 1999, transforming the reverse design into a rotating canvas that celebrated each state in the Union. This shift revitalized public interest in coin collecting, sparking a modern boom, but in 1991, such a future was merely a glimmer in the minds of mint officials and numismatists. The 1991 Washington Quarter thus represents the final decade of a classic era. Each coin from this period serves as a time capsule, a tangible link to a time before the explosion of commemorative reverse designs, proofs, and special issues. Speaking of proofs, the San Francisco Mint continued its tradition of striking proof sets for collectors in 1991. These proof quarters display a mirror-like finish and frosted design elements achieved through special dies and highly polished planchets. Although millions were minted, their appeal remains strong because of their unmatched quality and presentation. In official mint packaging, collectors often seek complete proof sets as they provide a snapshot of circulating coinage in its most pristine form. It is also worth mentioning the cultural context of 1991, as it was a year of significant change in America. The Gulf War had just concluded, the economy was navigating a recession, and technological advancements like the early internet were beginning to reshape society in small yet profound ways. Coins minted during this time carry a subtle historical resonance. They were exchanged in everyday transactions for gas, groceries, and payphones, reminders of a pre-digital cash economy. For the numismatist, each 1991 quarter embodies layers of meaning: the practical function of commerce, the artistry of American engraving, and the chance for discovery. Whether through error coins, high-grade examples, or sentimental attachment, this everyday piece of metal becomes something more, a bridge between past and present. To build a meaningful collection of 1991 quarters, a collector should pay attention to several key factors. Condition is paramount, as even a slight nick or abrasion can drop a coin's value significantly. Looking for coins with full strike details, especially in the hair curls on Washington's head or the feather tips of the eagle, can make a big difference. Examining the rims for full reading and the fields for marks or discoloration helps ensure quality coins stand out. Assembling sets with both P and D mint marks, along with a proof example from San Francisco, gives a well-rounded representation of the year's mintage. Collectors may also consider researching population reports from grading companies to understand rarity within the grade spectrum. Some high mint state grades might have surprisingly low populations, adding to their desirability. Likewise, following auction results can reveal current market trends and highlight standout pieces that break previous price records. Staying informed keeps the collector ready to recognize opportunity, whether at a coin show, an online listing, or hidden in plain sight within a coin jar. Ultimately, the 1991 Washington Quarter is not just a quarter. It is a testament to the enduring legacy of American coinage, the subtle beauty of design, the fascinating world of minting technology, and the thrill of the hunt for the rare and unusual. It stands at a crossroads of history, a quiet witness to everyday life, and a hidden gem waiting to be discovered by those who know where to look. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or a curious newcomer, this coin invites you to dive deeper, to appreciate the stories etched in its metal, and to cherish the journey of collecting one quarter at a time. The next time you find a 1991 quarter in your pocket, Take a moment to hold it up to the light trace. The familiar outline of Washington's profile, feel the tiny ridges along its edge, and remember that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest stories within them. And so the legacy of the 1991 Washington quarter lives on in albums, folders, safety deposit boxes, and the memories of those who value the humble yet extraordinary power of American coinage, as long as collectors remain vigilant, curious, and passionate. This little coin will continue to tell its story for generations to come. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history of the 1991 Washington quarter, stay tuned for more rare coin stories, minting secrets, and collector insights that keep the spirit of numismatics alive, because every coin has a story, and yours might just be the next to change everything, and you will never look at your change the same way again. The journey of the 1968 Washington quarter begins deep inside the fabric of American history when the United States Mint decided to continue the legacy of the Washington quarter design, which first appeared in 1932. It was initially intended as a one-year commemorative coin, honoring the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. But the design became so popular that it replaced the standing Liberty quarter permanently. The year 1968 stands out not only because it sits at the tail end of the silver era, but also because it reflects a transitional period for the minting process, and coin collectors who closely follow the composition and mint mark details of every issue. The 1968 Washington quarter no longer contained any silver content, which officially ended after 1964. Yet confusion persisted because proof sets from San Francisco and circulation strikes from Denver and Philadelphia often puzzled new collectors by their mint marks and finishes. This coin weighs 567 grams and has a diameter of 243 millimeters. Its reeded edge and copper nickel-clad composition over a pure copper core makes it distinct from the earlier 90% silver quarters. Collectors often look for the S Mint mark, which denotes proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint. But these proofs were not meant for circulation, which means any S Mint mark quarter found in loose change should be immediately checked for authenticity and potential value. The Denver Mint struck the majority of 1968 Washington quarters bearing the D Mint mark, while Philadelphia coins had no mint mark during that time, creating another layer of interest for those who specialize in mint mark varieties. An important part of the 1968 Washington quarters story revolves around the rise of errors and varieties that emerged from the striking process, because the dies used for minting would occasionally develop cracks or become misaligned, resulting in fascinating error coins that command premium prices. Today doubled. Dies off, center strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks are among the most sought-after errors for this year. The most valuable ones can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition and rarity. Collectors have learned to inspect the date, the mint mark, the rim, and the edges for these subtle yet rewarding imperfections. Another interesting angle is the context of the era itself. In the late 1960s, America was undergoing massive social and economic changes. The coinage was reflecting the shift away from precious metals to more cost-effective alloys in response to the coin shortage crisis that struck the nation in the early 60s. The Coinage Act of 1965 played a critical role in transforming the composition of dimes, quarters, and half dollars, removing silver content except for special proof or collectors' issues. This move aimed to stabilize the coin supply and prevent hoarding, which had become rampant when the intrinsic silver value began exceeding the face value of the coins. The 1968 Washington quarter also reminds us of how the minting process modernized over the decades. The San Francisco Mint transitioned into primarily producing proof coins, while Denver and Philadelphia handled most of the circulation needs. Improvements in die-making, planchet production, and quality control helped reduce errors over time. Yet these transitional years gave rise to collectible mishaps that are still being discovered today. Seasoned numismatists always advise checking the condition or grade of any quarter, the Sheldon Coin Grading Scale, which ranges from Poor 1 to Perfect Mint State 70, guides collectors in evaluating a coin's preservation level, an uncirculated 1968 D Washington quarter in pristine condition might be worth a few dollars above face value, while an error coin or a rare variety in high grade can dramatically exceed expectations. Coin auctions, online marketplaces, and coin shows regularly feature these quarters, and the stories behind individual finds are as fascinating as the coins themselves. Countless collectors share tales of finding valuable quarters in old coin jars, inherited collections, or even pocket change, which keeps the hobby alive for new generations. To fuel this passion, organizations like the American Numismatic Association provide education resources and grading services to help collectors authenticate and preserve their finds. In the end, the 1968 Washington quarter embodies a slice of American economic history, a symbol of change. In the literal and figurative sense, it carries the image of George Washington, the father of the nation, and reminds us of the evolving value of money over time. Next time you hold a quarter from 1968, flip it. Inspect the edges, examine the mint mark, and think about the journey it took from a coining press to your hand. Maybe you will be the next lucky collector to discover an overlooked treasure that others missed. And in this small piece of metal, you carry a story that spans decades, connects generations, and celebrates the art and intrigue of American coinage. So keep hunting, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of a single quarter in the world of rare coins. Every detail counts, and every coin tells a tale worth sharing. Washington quarters remain strong because they are accessible to beginners and rewarding for advanced collectors alike. With each passing year, high-quality specimens become scarcer because circulation wear steadily reduces the pool of mint state coins. That means your search today could uncover a coin that grows in value as supply diminishes. Numismatics is more than just profit. It is a living link to history, a hobby that connects people across generations, cultures, and continents. The 1968 Washington quarter stands as a shining example of how even common coins can hold uncommon stories and values. When you learn to look closely, appreciate the details, and keep your eyes open for that next hidden gem in your change jar coin, collecting becomes a lifelong adventure. And as we continue our journey through this timeless piece of American coinage, remember that the thrill of discovery, the knowledge you gain, and the community you join make every quarter, every hunt, every story worth it. So next time you spot a 1968 Washington quarter, do not just spend it, inspect it, research it, cherish it, because you might just be holding a small piece of history that keeps the spirit of George Washington and the promise of the American dream alive in your hands. Our rare errors, valuable varieties, and historical details that only few collectors know about, from mint marks to metal composition, from auction records to collector secrets. The 1979 Washington quarter is a treasure waiting to be discovered. And in this video, we dive deep into every single detail of this legendary American coin. No fluff, no filler, just raw, fascinating history and real coin facts that can turn your curiosity into profit. So grab your seat, because what you are about to learn in the next 2 hours can change the way you see quarters forever. In the year 1979, the United States Mint continued the long and proud tradition of the Washington quarter, a coin first introduced in 1932 to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. The 1979 quarter holds a special place in the timeline of American numismatics, not only because of its design or its use in everyday commerce, but also because of its hidden rarities, its production challenges, and the historical moment it represents. Minted at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Washington quarter of 1979 came in multiple versions, each with its own unique characteristics and value potential for coin collectors. Today, we begin this journey by exploring the history of the Washington quarter leading up to the year 1979, We will examine how the quarter evolved through the decades, how its composition changed from silver to clad, how mint marks were used, and how proof coins from the San Francisco Mint became one of the most sought-after categories for serious collectors. Next, we will analyze the minting process in 1979 and explain why certain quarters from this year became highly valuable due to errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, filled mint marks, clipped planchets, and transitional varieties. We will dive into real examples from professional grading services and auction houses where some 1979 Washington quarters have sold for over $500 or even $1,000, despite their face value of just 25 cents. In the history of American coinage, few coins have held the legacy and familiarity of the Washington quarter, first minted in 1932. This coin was created to honor the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The quarter has become one of the most iconic pieces in circulation across America, with millions of citizens using it every day, but hidden among the common lies. The uncommon. And the 1979 Washington quarter is one such coin that has stories, errors, and varieties that make it one of the most fascinating pieces for collectors and historians alike. To understand the value and importance of the 1979 Washington quarter, we must first go back to the origins of the quarter itself. The original Washington quarter was designed by sculptor John Flanagan, whose portrait of Washington was chosen over other designs due to its formal and dignified appearance. The coin was originally composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, but that would change over time as the demand for silver grew and the cost of production became unsustainable for the U.S. Mint. In 1965, the United States Mint shifted from silver coinage to a copper-nickel-clad composition. This meant that the quarters minted after 1965, including the 1979 quarter, would no longer have any silver content instead. They were made with a core of pure copper sandwiched between two layers of copper-nickel, a combination of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This change was not only economic, but also strategic, as it allowed the mint to continue producing coins for circulation while conserving valuable resources. As we arrive at the year 1979, we find ourselves in an era of transition, both in operations. Inflation was on the rise, precious metal prices were fluctuating, and the Mint had just introduced the Susan B. Anthony dollar. In that same year, this meant increased pressure on the Mint facilities at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco to produce not only the new dollar, but also the existing denominations, including the ever-popular Washington quarter. In 1979, Washington quarters were produced at all three major mint locations: Philadelphia, which produced coins without a mint mark; Denver, which used the D mint mark; and San Francisco, which produced proof coins marked with an S. Each of these quarters, although bearing the same basic design, could differ significantly in quality, rarity, and potential value, depending on specific characteristics that we will now explore. Let us begin with the Philadelphia Mint. The 1979 P quarter is common in circulation with hundreds of millions minted. However, what makes the Philadelphia issues interesting are certain die varieties and errors that have become popular among collectors. For example, there are double-die obverse quarters where certain elements of the design, such as the motto "In God We Trust," or the date, show signs of doubling under magnification. This doubling occurs during the die creation process, and although minor in many cases, they can still fetch a premium when certified by a professional grading service. Moving to the Denver Mint. The 1979 D quarter is also common in circulated condition, but again, it is the errors and high-grade uncirculated examples that command attention. Collectors look for full-strike details, particularly in Washington's hair, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse strong luster, and sharp definition can mean the difference between a coin worth face value and one worth over $100 in MS-65 or higher grades. Coins that have been preserved in mint sets or rolls often provide the best chances of finding these higher grade examples. Now we shift to the San Francisco Mint, where the real treasures of the 1979 quarter story are found. The San Francisco Mint in 1979 did not produce circulation strikes, but instead focused on proof coins. These coins were made specifically for collectors using polished dies and planchets to produce mirror-like fields and frosted devices. What makes the 1979 S-proof quarter especially interesting is the existence of two major varieties known as the Type 1 and Type 2 mint marks. The Type 1S mint mark is more bulbous and less clearly defined, while the Type 2S mint mark is sharper, more refined, and was used later in the production run. The Type 2 version is significantly rarer and commands higher prices in the collector market. Some examples in perfect proof. 70 deep cameo condition have sold for over $200, making it one of the most desirable varieties for Washington quarter enthusiasts. In addition to these intentional varieties, there are also mint errors that make the 1979 quarter highly collectible. Some of these include off-center strikes where the coin was not properly aligned with the dies during striking, resulting in a misaligned image. Other errors include clipped planchets where part of the coin is missing due to a misfeed during blanking or strike-throughs, where foreign material got between the die and planchet during striking, creating unusual textures and impressions on the coin surface. The market for error coins has grown dramatically in recent years as more collectors seek out unique pieces that tell a story. No two error coins are exactly alike, and the most dramatic errors often bring the highest prices in auctions and private sales. Grading also plays a crucial role in the value of any 1979 quarter coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect examples, showing no post-mint imperfections. Most coins found in pocket change or circulation will grade between very fine and extremely fine, while coins stored carefully in mint condition can achieve mint state grades from MS-60 to MS-70. Proof coins are graded separately, with designations such as PR or PF, followed by the numerical grade and additional descriptors like cameo or deep cameo, depending on the contrast between the fields and the devices. Certified coins from reputable grading services like PCGs and NGC can command a strong premium, particularly when accompanied by designation labels, indicating special varieties such as double dies or mint mark types. Collectors and investors alike value the assurance that comes with a third-party authentication and grading service. Let us now consider some recent auction results for 1979 Washington quarters to understand their market potential. A 1979 D quarter, graded MS-67 by PCGs, sold for over $1,000 due to its pristine condition and rarity at that grade level. Another example, a 1979 S Type 2, proof quarter graded par 70 deep cameo sold for more than $250 on a popular auction site, further showing that condition and variety are the two most important factors in determining value. Even in average circulated condition, some error coins can be worth $50 to $100 or more, depending on the severity of the error and demand among collectors. Key to success in this hobby is knowledge, patience, and access to good reference materials and marketplaces. To collect 1979 Washington quarters effectively, one should consider building a complete set, including all three mint issues, Philadelphia, Denver, and both proof types from San Francisco. Storing coins in albums or certified holders will help preserve their condition and make future resale or trade easier over time. Coin shows, local shops, online platforms, and auctions all provide opportunities to buy, sell, and learn about these coins. And the community of collectors is filled with experienced individuals willing to share their insights and discoveries. As we near the end of this in-depth exploration, it is worth reflecting on why coins like the 1979 Washington quarter continue to captivate so many enthusiasts. They are small windows into our nation's economic, political, and artistic history. Each piece minted carries not only the image of a founding father, but also the story of the people and processes that brought it to life. Whether you are a beginner just starting to sort through spare change or a seasoned collector hunting for the next rare variety, the 1979 Washington Quarter offers something for everyone, from common examples to high-value rarities, from mint state brilliance to error coin intrigue. This coin represents both the ordinary and the extraordinary. 1977 Washington Quarter, a coin that defined an era and now defines value beyond face. In the late 1970s, the United States was navigating a shifting political and economic landscape. Inflation was rising, the Vietnam War had recently ended, and the country was adjusting to post-Watergate America. Amidst all of this, the United States Mint continued its routine production of coinage, including the Washington Quarter, a series that had been running since 1932 when it was originally introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The 1977 Washington Quarter is struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, the outer layers made of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. This composition was adopted in 1965 as the U.S. Mint moved away from silver coinage due to the rising costs of silver and increasing demand for coinage. The quarter features a reeded edge, weighs 5.67 grams, and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. Its obverse features the classic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, a design that had already become a cornerstone of American coinage for more than 4 decades by 1977. The obverse bears the word Liberty above Washington's head, with the motto, "In God We Trust," to the left, and the date 1977 placed beneath the bust. This date is of particular interest to numismatists, not only because it marks a transitional era in minting, but also because it is part of a narrow window in which certain mint, errors, and varieties emerged. The reverse of the coin continues the classic eagle design, also by Flanagan, showing a bald eagle with outstretched wings, clutching a bundle of arrows beneath which lies an olive branch. This symbolism emphasizes both strength and peace at a time when the nation was still recovering from war and societal unrest. In 1977, the Washington Quarter was minted at 3 U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coins from Philadelphia bear no mint mark. The Denver coins are marked with a D, and the San Francisco coins particularly, the proof issues are marked with an S proof. Coins are struck with specially prepared dies and planchets, and exhibit a mirror-like finish with frosted details. The 1977 S proof quarter is a collector favorite due to its sharp appearance and limited mintage. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 468 million quarters in 1977, the Denver Mint produced more than 256 million, and the San Francisco Mint struck over 3.25 million proof coins. The sheer volume of production makes finding common circulated specimens easy, but among these high numbers lie hidden gems. Certain coins display mint errors that dramatically increase their value and demand. Popular 1977 quarter errors include off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned due to improper feeding of the planchet into the press. Some coins show die cracks or cuds, which are the result of damage or deterioration of the dies used to strike the coins. Doubling is also a sought-after error, where parts of the design appear to be doubled due to a misalignment in the hubbing process. The most famous doubled dies in U.S. coinage often command high premiums, and collectors continuously search for new discoveries from any year, including 1977. The condition of the coin significantly impacts its value. Quarters that are uncirculated or graded mint state by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC often sell for higher prices. MS-65 or higher grades are considered premium and rare, especially with a strong strike, full details, and minimal marks from handling a coin. In MS-67 or higher condition from 1977 is extremely scarce due to the mass production and rough handling in mint bags and during transportation. Full strike coins. especially those with fully defined eagle feathers on the reverse and bold Washington features on the obverse, are highly sought after. Full steps in Jefferson nickels are a similar concept, but with quarters, collectors look for full details in the eagle's wings and the hairlines on Washington's portrait. A small number of 1977 quarters have surfaced, with broad strikes missing edge reading or struck on incorrect planchets. These errors are often caused by mechanical failures or planchet errors during the minting process. For instance, a 1977 quarter struck on a dime planchet would be underweight and smaller than normal. Such mistakes are usually caught, but a few escape into circulation and become numismatic treasures. San Francisco proof coins from 1977 often come in proof sets sold by the Mint. These sets included one coin of each denomination, from the cent to the dollar. The 1977 proof quarter is prized not only for its appearance, but also for its role in completing date runs for Washington quarter collectors, since proof coins are not meant for circulation. Finding one in the wild is nearly impossible unless broken from a set. Collectors often categorize Washington quarters into pre-silver 1932 to 1964 and clad 1965 to present the 1977 quarter belongs to the clad era, but it still holds significant value due to its age error potential and historical placement during the Cold War period. In numismatic circles, building a complete clad Washington quarter set, including varieties and high-grade examples, is a challenging pursuit, and the 1977 issue plays a critical role in that journey. Many coin rolls from 1977 still remain unopened, especially in bank vaults or private holdings. Collectors often buy sealed rolls in hopes of cherry-picking error coins or high-grade examples. Some hobbyists specialize in roll searching, a practice that involves opening original bank-wrapped rolls to find hidden gems and uncirculated pieces. The coin market often experiences spikes in demand, driven by silver prices, collector interest, and media exposure. While the 1977 quarter does not contain silver, it has experienced periodic jumps in collector interest, especially when featured in major auction sales or numismatic publications. Coins that receive high grades from top services with designations such as plus or star often set new price records at auction. Beyond errors and condition, another aspect that draws attention to the 1977 quarter is its cultural context. It was minted during the presidency of Jimmy Carter in a post-Vietnam, post-Nixon America. Economic uncertainty and inflation had started to shape public policy, and even coin design and production decisions were influenced by broader economic factors. The copper-nickel-clad coins, like the 1977 quarter, were part of a long-term response to the coin shortages and silver price hikes of the 1960s. The Washington quarter was never intended to become a permanent circulating coin. In 1932, it was meant as a commemorative release, but due to the coin's popularity, it replaced the standing Liberty quarter permanently. The 1977 issue is therefore part of a long lineage of circulating coinage that began as a tribute and evolved into a fixture of American commerce. For collectors, the thrill lies not just in finding a rare 1977 quarter, but in understanding the forces that shaped it. The design choices, the minting process, the public response, the economic backdrop, and the artistic decisions of the mint engravers. Each 1977 quarter carries with it a piece of American story, frozen in metal, struck in high-speed presses, handled by millions, and yet capable of becoming a treasure in the right condition or with the right anomaly. By diving into the Mint records, auction sales, collector guides, interviews with grading experts, and even treasure hunts at garage sales and coin shows, the 1977 Washington quarter becomes far more than 25 cents. It becomes a time capsule of American life, a mirror of technological precision and human error, a relic that proves even in an age of mass production, rarity can still be found. This is the story of the 1977 Washington quarter, a simple coin turned legend for those who know